Welcome back to Horoscope TV. It is
Yeah.
so fantastic to have you with us as we continue to track the movement of the cosmos.
Right, to be here.
We are looking at the charts, we are looking at all the planetary movements, and today we're doing a really serious analysis of a very specific point in time. We are turning the dial forward to February 2026.
And it's a date that's, well, it's flashing red on the dashboard, that is for sure.
It certainly is, and it's flashing red for one sign in particular, isn't it? If you are a Taurus, or, if you have heavy Taurus placements, your rising sign, your moon, maybe a crowded first house, this is your briefing.
Oh, absolutely. This is required listening.
Because looking at the data you've pulled, February 2026 isn't just a busy month. It really looks like a hard reset.
That is exactly what it is. I was thinking about this earlier. If I had to summarize the astrological weather for Taurus in February 2026, I'd call it the Great Acceleration.
Ooh, I like that, the great acceleration.
And for a Taurus, let's be honest, that is usually uncomfortable news.
All right, because let's just unpack the archetype for a second. When we talk about Taurus, we are talking about the bull. We are talking about fixed earth energy. It's all about stability, pastures, deliberate movement.
Slow and steady.
We don't like to be rushed. We like to graze. We like to know what's coming.
Precisely. The Taurian nervous system is designed for endurance, not sprinting. It's designed for, accumulation and preservation. But the universe in February 2026 is essentially forcing a sprint.
So no grazing.
No grazing. The astrological signature is the exact opposite of the standard Taurian operating procedure. I mean, it is not about steady growth. It is about quantum leaps. And those leaps are being driven by three specific engines.
Okay, let's break them down.
First, the awakening of Uranus in your sign. Second, a massive solar eclipse in your career sector. And third, a very tricky shift in your ruling planet, Venus.
Okay, so we have the pasture, and then we have the rocket fuel.
And the match is being lit. There's no way around it.
So let's get into the mechanics of this. We want to move past the generic advice here and really look at the why and the how. I want to start with this Uranus transit because, Uranus has been in Taurus for a long time. At this point, people are used to it. Why is February 2026 so different?
It's all about direction. That's the key. For months leading up to this, all through the latter part of 2025, Uranus has been retrograde.
Okay, let's pause and clarify that for the listener who hears retrograde and just thinks about Mercury breaking their computer.
Right. It's not about that.
What does it mean when a huge generational planet like Uranus is retrograde?
That is a great question. When a planet is retrograde, its energy is internalized. It's turned inward. Now, Uranus is the planet of rebellion, electricity, sudden change, freedom.
It's a great awakener?
The Great Awakener. So when it's retrograde, that rebellion isn't happening out in the world. It's happening inside your head.
Yeah.
You're thinking about quitting the job. You're fantasizing about the new life. You're simmering.
It's a dormant volcano.
That's the perfect metaphor. It is a dormant volcano. You feel the pressure building, but maybe nobody else sees the lava yet. It's all happening under the surface.
So for the last few months of 2025, the Taurus listener has probably been feeling a lot of internal frustration, but taking very little external action.
Exactly. A lot of, I wish I could, or what if I just, but no real movement. It's that feeling of having the parking brake on while you're pressing the gas. You're burning fuel, but you're not going anywhere.
And that is an incredibly frustrating feeling.
It is. But on February 4th, 2026, Uranus stations direct.
The parking brake releases.
The parking brake releases, the lid comes off the pressure cooker, and the volcano erupts. The energy shifts completely from internal processing to external manifestation. It's like a switch flips.
And what does that feel like?
But tolerance for restriction, which, let's be real, Taurus usually has a very high threshold for, it drops to zero. Absolutely zero.
That's a dangerous feeling for a sign that values security above almost everything else. I mean, that's the core of the Taurus identity.
It creates a massive internal conflict. It really does. We call this the un-Taurus behavior. Your biology, your core programming wants safety, but your astrology is demanding chaos. It's demanding a breakthrough.
So on a February 4th, when that station happens, you might wake up and just...
And simply decide, I am done.
Done with what, though? Is it specific?
It could be anything, but it will be whatever is boxing you in. This could be a relationship dynamic that's felt stale, a career path that you've outgrown, or even just a daily routine that has become a prison.
Wow.
The defining emotion of Uranus direct in the first house, which is the house of self, your identity, how you appear to the world, is a desperate need for authenticity. It's the feeling that the walls are closing in and you have to smash through them just to breathe.
Okay, so If our listener finds themselves doing something totally out of character around the first week of February,
Yeah.
suddenly dyeing their hair blue, quitting a club they've been president of for 10 years, speaking up in a meeting where they usually just quietly take notes, that's the transit.
That is 100% the transit. You're going to surprise yourself. People who know you are going to be like, who are you?
And you can say, I don't know, but I like it.
Exactly. And my advice here is completely counterintuitive for a Taurus. Usually if a Taurus friend came to me and said, I want to burn it all down, I would say, okay, let's sleep on it. Be practical, make a spreadsheet.
The classic Taurus approach.
Right.
Of
But
the-
under this transit, I'm saying the opposite. You actually need to honor the impulse.
Really? You're advising impulsivity. That feels risky, especially for an earth sign.
I'm advising flow. There's a difference. If you resist this Uranian energy, if you try to bottle it up, it tends to manifest as extreme anxiety or even accidents.
How so?
Think of it like high voltage electricity. If you don't give it a wire to run through, it blows the fuse. It has to go somewhere. So you have to let the new you out, even if it feels messy and unpredictable.
And if you don't, if you try to suppress it,
If you try to suppress this urge to change, it will come out sideways, usually as a health issue like sudden migraines or nerve pain, or as a sudden explosion of anger that you can't control, and that does real damage.
so it's better to make a conscious, albeit impulsive choice than to have an unconscious, destructive outburst later.
That is the strategy, yes. You steer the lightning instead of letting it strike you randomly.
So, new you is the theme, which segues perfectly into the next major event, because this internal identity shift seems to be happening right before a massive external spotlight turns on. Let's talk about the solar eclipse on February 17th.
This is the headline event for the year, professionally speaking. There's no question. We have a solar eclipse in Aquarius, and it's falling in the Taurus 10th house.
Okay, break down the 10th house for us. We hear about houses all the time, but why is a 10th so critical here? It's not just your job, right?
No, it's so much more than that. The 10th house is the midheaven. It is the very top of your chart, the highest point. It represents your public reputation, your career in the sense of your legacy, and authority figures. It is how the world perceives you.
So not the day-to-day tasks.
No, your daily chores and your work environment, that's more the 6th house. The 10th house is your calling. It's the title on the door. It's the award you win. It's your status in society.
And a solar eclipse is essentially a supercharged new moon, right? A massive new beginning.
It's a portal. I mean, a new moon is like starting a new chapter. A solar eclipse is like starting a whole new book. Having this happen in your career sector suggests a pivotal, fated moment where your public status changes dramatically.
Status change can mean a lot of things. Are we talking promotion, getting fired? A complete pivot.
All of the above are on the table. Eclipses are volatile. They often bring fated events. This isn't usually something you painstakingly plan for months. It's more like an offer that just drops out of the sky.
Oh, interesting.
Or a boss suddenly leaving, which creates a vacuum that you have to step into. It accelerates timelines. What might have taken you 3 years to achieve could happen in 3 days around this eclipse.
But with Uranus going direct just before this, and the listener already feeling rebellious and wanting to break free,
You can see the synergy, right? It's incredible. The internal voice saying, I need a change, I need to be me, aligns perfectly with an external event offering a brand new path. The universe is effectively saying, oh, you want to change who you are? Here's a brand new stage to do it on.
that's powerful. But eclipses can also be eclipsing something out. That's the part that always makes people a little nervous.
Yes. And that is the scary part, especially for a security-loving Taurus. Sometimes a major client leaves. Sometimes a project you've worked on for ages gets killed. Sometimes you get laid off.
Which would feel like the end of the world.
It would feel like it. But the astrological rule of thumb for eclipses is this. If a door slams shut in February 2026, do not try to pry it back open.
Why not?
Because it closed to force you toward that 10th house upgrade. It closed because it was too small for the version of you that Uranus is awakening. You've outgrown the room.
So the strategy is acceptance of the pivot.
Acceptance and boldness. The universe is supporting ambition here. This is not a time to be a wallflower. If you find yourself standing in the spotlight, don't apologize for it.
Lean into it.
Absolutely. This is the time to ask for the raise, launch the LLC you've been dreaming about, or pitch the big, audacious idea. The energy is asking you to be visible. Do not hide in the back row during a 10th house eclipse.
And the timeline for this isn't just a day or two, right? We aren't just talking about the effects on February 17th itself.
No, not at all. Eclipses cast a long shadow both before and after. The decisions made and the events that occur around February 17th, 2026 will affect your professional status for the next 6 months at least. This really sets the tone for the entire first half of your year.
So you're planting seeds.
You are planting seeds that are going to grow into massive trees by the fall, so plant them wisely.
However, in astrology, it's never just smooth sailing, is it? There's always a catch.
Always a complication.
We have the internal rebellion with Uranus and the external promotion with the eclipse. This sounds great, honestly. High energy, big moves. But looking at the chart, there is a shadow aspect here. There's a transit happening on February 14th involving Saturn that feels, well, heavier.
It is the reality check. And on Valentine's Day, ironically, Saturn enters Aries.
Saturn, the great taskmaster, the planet of structure, discipline, limitation.
And restriction.
Yeah.
And karma.
Yeah.
And it is moving into the Taurus 12th house.
Oof. The 12th house is a tricky one to explain. It's often called the dustbin of the zodiac.
Or the womb in the tomb. It's a very paradoxical place. It governs the subconscious, hidden things, solitude, institutions like hospitals, and crucially for this transit, hidden enemies. It's the place where we undo ourselves.
So hold on, let me get this straight. On one hand, we have the solar eclipse in the 10th house putting you on the jumbotron in your career.
Lights, camera, action.
And simultaneously, Saturn is in the 12th house, pulling you into the darkest, quietest room in your own house.
Exactly. It creates a massive paradox, a real push-pull. You have to be on for the world, but your soul is desperate to be off. You are being celebrated publicly, but privately you might feel incredibly isolated or even anxious.
What does Saturn in the 12th house feel like on, a random Tuesday? What's the lived experience?
It feels like a vague, free-floating anxiety. It feels like imposter syndrome cranked up to 11.
Okay.
When we talk about hidden enemies in the 12th house, 90% of the time, the enemy isn't a person at the office plotting against you. The enemy is your own negative self-talk.
It's an inside job.
It's a complete inside job. Saturn in the 12th whispers all the worst things. You aren't good enough for this promotion. They're going to find out you're faking it. You don't deserve this success.
So the real battle for February isn't really against a competitor for a new job. It's against the voice in your own head.
That's the core challenge. The work is mental discipline. Saturn demands work, always. In the 10th house, Saturn demands career work. In the 12th house, that work is psychological. It's spiritual.
So what's the strategy? How do you work with that?
You have to structure your mental health just as rigorously as you structure your work calendar. I mean, literally schedule it. If you ignore the need for solitude, for meditation, for journaling, you will burn out before the month is over.
So you have to carve out that quiet time.
You need to schedule worry time or decompression time, or Saturn will force you to take it, usually through exhaustion or illness.
This leads us to a specific danger zone you highlighted in the notes.
Yeah.
This combination of high career pressure, the internal identity shifts, and this heavy subconscious doubt. It seems to come to a head on February 27th, Mars square Uranus.
This is the most volatile day of the month. Without a doubt, if you circle one day to be careful, this is it.
We know Mars is drive, action, and aggression. We know Uranus is sudden change and rebellion. A square is a 90-degree angle, which in astrology means tension or conflict.
It's pure friction. Mars wants to push forward. Uranus wants to break free. When they clash like this, it creates an explosive, unpredictable energy. It's like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline.
The I quit aspect.
Or the flip the table aspect. The danger here is that all the pressure from the eclipse and all the Saturnian self-doubt just boils over. You might snap at a boss or send a blistering email you can't take back.
Or it could be at home, too.
Oh, absolutely. You could get into a screaming match with a spouse over something totally trivial like the dishes, but it's not about the dishes. It's about this primal scream for freedom.
So let's picture the scene. You're dealing with all this career pressure, you're changing your identity, you're doubting yourself, and then suddenly someone tells you what to do, or a piece of technology fails.
And boom. That's the trigger. The urge to rebel against any form of authority or break the rules becomes overwhelming. This is where you have to be very, very careful.
So if you're feeling that restless, angry energy on the 27th, do not send the email.
Do not send the email. Do not rage quit your job. Do not break up with someone via text message. The strategy for a Mars-Uranus square is to find a constructive outlet. You have to channel that energy into physical obstacles, not people.
What does that look like in practice?
Go to the gym and hit a punching bag. If you have a difficult problem to solve, like a complex spreadsheet or a garage that needs a total overhaul, attack that. Use that aggressive energy to conquer a task.
So break a problem, don't break a relationship.
Break a problem, not a relationship. I love that. That's a mantra for the fridge for the whole last week of February. Use the energy for innovation, which is the high side of Uranus, not recklessness, which is the low side. You don't want to burn bridges that you might need in March when the smoke clears.
That is incredibly practical advice. Okay, let's pivot to the practicals. Taurus is an earth sign. We care about security, the bottom line. With all this career volatility, what is the money doing?
It's surprisingly steady, but it absolutely requires management. It's not a month to let things slide.
Okay.
We start the month on February 3rd with a moon in Virgo.
Ah, Virgo is the accountant of the zodiac. Very meticulous, very analytical.
Right. So my advice is, before the chaos of Uranus direct hits on the 4th, use the 3rd to get your house in order. Look at the numbers. This capitalizes on that good, solid Earth energy. It's about creating security. If you need to look at spreadsheets, make a budget, organize your bills, do it on the 3rd.
Because once Uranus goes direct on the 4th, the vibe changes.
The vibe changes completely. You're going to want to spend that new you that's emerging. It wants new clothes, new tech, a new car, a new brand. There's a powerful urge to have your outer appearance match your new inner reality.
Is that a bad thing? The old retail therapy urge?
It's not inherently bad, but it's a risk. It's okay to invest in the self-in. I mean, if you were stepping into a new career role after the eclipse, you might actually need a new suit or a new laptop. That's a smart investment. But with Saturn in the 12th house, we have to watch out for hidden costs.
Things you didn't see coming.
Exactly. Anticipated debts you forgot about, forgotten subscriptions that suddenly renew, or perhaps health-related expenses since the 12th house governs hospitals and healing. The advice is conservative saving. Keep a buffer. This isn't the month to gamble or make huge speculative investments. It's the month to invest in things that have a clear, tangible return on investment.
You mentioned a specific date for making money moves, February 24th. What's happening then?
Circle that date. That's the first quarter moon in Gemini.
And that lights up the money sector for Taurus.
It does. It falls in your second house of earned income and personal resources. The first quarter moon is a time of action. The planning phase is over. It's about execution.
So that's the day to ask for the raise.
It could be. And because it is in Gemini, it specifically suggests earning income through communication.
So things like writing, teaching, sales, marketing.
Exactly. Or even just negotiating. If you need to have a conversation about a contract or a price, the 24th is a very strong day for that. The energy supports commerce through conversation.
And I assume the Mars-Uranus square on the 27th is a huge no-go for gambling or risky investments.
Absolutely. The worst time. Avoid any kind of risky financial schemes around the end of the month. Sudden, unexpected losses are very possible if you are gambling with your resources. Stick to the tried and true. Don't get caught up in crypto schemes or anything that sounds too good to be true.
Got it. Okay, moving on from finance to matters of the heart. Love, home, and relationships. Taurus is ruled by Venus, so this is always a headline topic. What is the romantic weather report for February 2026?
It's a mixed bag, a real story of two parts. We have a distinct vibe shift happening on February 10th when Venus, your ruler, moves into Pisces.
Venus in Pisces is lovely, isn't it? It's one of its best positions.
It is actually considered exalted in Pisces, which means Venus operates at its highest, most beautiful potential there. And for you, it activates the sector of friendship, hopes, and dreams for the future.
So what does that mean for dating? Single Taurians should stop swiping on the apps and start accepting invitations to group dinners.
The astrology strongly suggests love comes through community. Yes. Social gatherings, community events being introduced by a pal, even online communities centered around a shared interest.
And the tone of the romance.
The tone is very gentle, compassionate, and supportive. It's not about a fiery, dramatic passion. It's about looking for a partner who shares your vision for the future. It's a soulful connection. You're looking for your best friend.
That sounds beautiful. But before we get to that lovely energy on the 10th, we have the start of the month. February 1st is a full moon in Leo.
And that full moon lights up the 4th house, your home and family sector.
Full moons are always climaxes. High emotion, things coming to a head.
Right. So right out of the gate, on day 1 of the month, we might see an emotional peak regarding your living situation or your family. For some, this could be wonderful. A decision to move in together or introducing a partner to the family, and it goes really well.
Or drama.
Or drama. Leo is a very dramatic sign. It loves a performance. If there have been underlying tensions between a partner and your relatives, say your mother doesn't like your boyfriend, this full moon brings it to a head. It all comes out.
To resolve it, hopefully.
Hopefully, the goal is resolution. The underlying craving for Taurus here, especially with all the chaos happening elsewhere, is for the home to be a sanctuary, a safe haven. If it's not, you will feel a very strong drive to fix it, one way or another.
Is there any other turbulence we should watch out for in relationships this month?
There's a choppy patch right around February 8th. Venus squares Uranus.
Ah, there's that Uranus again. The troublemaker.
It brings instability, a sudden, out-of-the-blue need for space or freedom. Now, this could be you feeling smothered, or it could be your partner. Someone might suddenly say, I need some air.
And if you're a Taurus, the instinct is to cling tighter.
Exactly, which makes it worse. You have to allow that breathing room. A surprise event could shake things up. Maybe a friend says something or a secret comes out. It's a test of the relationship's flexibility.
And looking at the very end of the month, I see Mercury's getting involved.
Yes, on February 28th. Mercury connects with Venus. Now, normally this would be a fantastic aspect for talking about your feelings, for having a heart-to-heart, but
There's a but. Let me guess. Mercury is retrograde.
Mercury is retrograde. So the trap is set. You think it is a good time to have the talk, but the potential for misunderstandings is incredibly high. Wires get crossed.
Oh, you combine that with that simmering Mars-Uranus anger we just talked about.
It is a powder keg, an absolute powder keg. Harsh words spoken in haste can cause permanent damage. You might say something you mean in the heat of the moment, but you say it in a way that destroys trust and is very hard to take back.
So late February. Keep the receipts, double-check your texts, and maybe just keep your mouth shut if you're angry.
Or just count to 10. Literally. Slow down your reaction time. If you write an angry text message or email on February 28th, do not send it. Let it sit in your drafts. Sleep on it. I promise it will look different in the morning.
Excellent advice for any month, but
Yep.
especially this one. Okay, let's talk about the physical vessel, health and wellness. How is the body holding up with all this stress?
Well, the theme for health this month is electricity. With Uranus going direct in your sign, your physical vitality is actually very high.
So you have energy to burn. That's a good thing.
It can be, yes. You might feel like you have electricity running through your body. The downside of that is it can manifest as anxiety and restlessness. The nervous system is overstimulated. You might feel wired but tired.
I know that feeling. You can't switch off.
Exactly. You're exhausted, but your mind is racing.
So what is the fix? How do you handle that?
Grounding. And I don't mean that in a metaphorical woo-woo way. I mean literally connecting your body to the earth.
So like taking off your shoes and walking on the grass.
That's the gold standard.
Yeah.
Walking in nature, gardening, getting a massage, even just taking a bath with Epsom salts. Anything that brings you back into your body and out of that buzzing electric mind. You need to balance that high frequency. Heavy blankets are also great for this.
And with Saturn in the 12th house, you mentioned the mind and its tendency to worry.
Yes, sleep hygiene is going to be absolutely critical. Saturn in the 12th can bring insomnia or those vague late-night worries that feel huge at 3 in the morning.
And then seem ridiculous in the daylight.
Right. So you need a wind-down routine that is non-negotiable, no screens for an hour before bed, no news, no stressful conversations. Your brain is going to want to solve all the world's problems at 3 a.m. You have to train it not to.
And finally, a note on physical safety.
Yes, this brings us back to that Mars-Uranus square on February 27th. Astrologically, this is known as an accident-prone aspect.
Why? Because we are rushing and not paying attention.
Exactly. Moving too fast, being distracted by that inner turmoil. It can lead to clumsiness, tripping over things, cutting your finger while chopping vegetables because you're rushing and angry.
So be careful in the kitchen.
And on the road, caution is really needed with tools, with electricity, and with driving. Just slow down. Being 5 minutes late is so much better than getting into an accident. The universe is asking for mindfulness.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. Now let's get into the toolkit. We like to give the listeners the cheat sheet, the quick reference guide for the month. You pulled some interesting data points here.
Let's start with the color of the week, or in this case, the color of the month. The data points very strongly to forest green. If you're looking for the hex code, it's hashtag 2108B22.
Forest green. That feels very, very grounding, very Taurian. Why that specific shade?
It is. It connects to the heart chakra, which is ruled by Venus, but more importantly, it is the color of a dense, stable forest. It is visually grounding. Given the high electricity of Uranus, surrounding yourself with forest green, maybe it's an accent wall or a new plant for your desk or just wearing a sweater, can help with subconscious grounding. It signals safety and stability to the brain.
I might just paint the office that color for the eclipse.
Yeah.
I like it. What about lucky numbers?
The sequence that keeps popping up for this month is 4, 6, 17, 22, 29, and 38.
17 is in there. That's the date of the solar eclipse.
Yeah,
And 4 is when Uranus goes direct.
it is. So there are patterns there. Keep an eye on those numbers. They might show up in interesting ways.
And the best dates for making big moves. The green light days.
February 4th, the day Uranus goes direct. That's for personal breakthroughs. February 12th is a lovely, harmonious day, and February 21st is strong for action. Those are your power days.
Now let's talk about people. This is always a big one. In a month where Taurus is, kind of losing their mind a little bit, who is the anchor? Who is the best match?
The best match for a Taurus navigating February 2026 is, without a doubt, Capricorn.
Another earth sign. The goat. That makes sense.
Yes, and here's why. Both are earth signs, so they speak the same fundamental language of practicality and reality. But specifically, Capricorn is cardinal earth. They are the planners, the initiators. They provide the steady ground you desperately need while you are dealing with the Uranus chaos.
So while Taurus is having this identity crisis and spontaneously changing their hair color, Capricorn is there saying, okay, that looks cool, but did you pay the rent?
Exactly, they hold the structure. And during the career shifts of the eclipse, Capricorn is the master of ambition. They can help you plan. They won't be freaked out by your newfound ambition. They will applaud it. They will help you draft the business plan for that new LLC. They get it.
A port in the storm.
The best kind.
And who should we perhaps avoid, or at least be very careful with? Who is the worst match for this month?
Leo.
That makes sense, given the full moon and the square aspect between the signs.
Right, the signs are squaring off in the sky all month long. The tension is inherently high. The full moon in Leo on February 1st immediately highlights Leo's ego and need for the spotlight.
And Taurus just wants some peace and quiet at home to deal with their inner world.
Exactly. Leo wants attention and adoration. Taurus is currently self-focused on this massive internal identity shift. Leo is likely to feel neglected or ignored. And when we get to the arguments around the Mars-Uranus square on February 27th, well, you have two fixed signs.
The immovable object meets the other immovable object.
Stubborn meets stubborn. Neither will back down. It's a recipe for a dramatic, drawn-out stalemate that nobody wins.
So maybe give the Leos in your life a little extra space this month.
Probably for the best. Just give them a wide berth until March rolls around.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Let's bring it all together. How do we summarize the mission for February 2026 for our Taurus listeners?
It is a month of professional highs, a profound personal awakening, and necessary caution in communication and physical safety.
It's not a quiet month.
Not at all. It is a loud, fast evolutionary leap. The brakes are off. The career is exploding. The identity is shifting. And the whole challenge is to ride that massive wave without wiping out.
And the key, the absolute #1 rule, is not to resist.
Do not resist the acceleration. The only way you get hurt this month is if you try to stay in the pasture when the universe is moving you to the racetrack. If you try to hold on to the old version of yourself or the old job that no longer fits, you will suffer. The friction will be too much.
But if you let go,
If you let go and flow with it, you can ride this energy to a completely new level of success and, more importantly, a new level of authenticity.
I want to leave the listener with a final provocative thought to mull over. We talked a lot about status with the eclipse in the 10th house and self with Uranus in the 1st house.
It raises a very interesting question. It's the core conflict of the month, really. The eclipse boosts your status, how the world sees you, but Uranus changes the self, who you actually are on the inside.
And they might not be aligned.
They might not be. So the challenge and the provocative thought for you to carry through the month is this. Is your new status going to fit your new self?
That is a big question. Ensuring the outside finally matches the inside.
That is the real work to be done in February. Make sure you aren't fighting for a crown that doesn't fit your head anymore, or accepting a promotion that would have been perfect for the person you used to be, but feels like a cage for the person you are becoming.
Heavy stuff, but that's why we do the analysis, to be prepared for these moments.
Yeah, it is.
Well, on that note, we want to thank you for tuning into this episode on Horoscope TV. Navigating the stars is always easier when we do it together.
Absolutely. See you in the stars.
Please subscribe so you get notified when the next episode is available. We will see you then.